Hi, everybody. I'm David Asman. Thanks for joining us. Kicking off tonight, the Obama administration is in the middle of another PR campaign trying to prove that they are pro-business. Regulations are Cass Sunstein was on Capitol Hill yesterday and in the Wall Street Journal today trying to make the case that the administration is as much of an enemy of government red tape as any small business is. Now, he claims that the administration has been very busy cutting regulation to make it easier to start up and manage businesses in America. But Congress doesn't appear to be buying that message.
What we've done for the regulatory look back is to ask the public for ideas about, and we've gotten a lot, about rules that are causing the sorts of problems to which you point. And those ideas have come in, and they are reflected in the agency plans that will be released soon.
The private sector is really not consulted on a cost-benefit analysis. In fact, in your testimony, it says the agency, at its sole discretion. And so what that says to me is that it will determine, and again, I'm very leery of a government that thinks it can do better than anybody else and thinks it's smarter than anybody else, but has actually never done what it is that they're trying to regulate.
In the Wall Street Journal today, Mr. Sunstein claims that his regulation cutting would save businesses a few $1 billion a year in cost. But the Competitive Enterprise Institute estimates that over-regulation in America actually costs businesses $1.75 trillion a year. For every regulation the administration cuts or gets rid of, they're adding dozens or even hundreds more with a slew of new regulatory departments and agencies. Now, for details, we turn to a man who has had Cass Sunstein in the firing line as of yesterday, freshman Republican Congressman Mike Kelly, who has real-world experience as a businessman of Pennsylvania. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks for coming in. So is the administration actually creating more regulations than they're getting rid of?
Hey, David, listen, you know what? It's the old story. You know, you can talk the talk, but you better be able to walk the walk. I think it's great. We have a guy in the White House that talks a great game, but he doesn't get on the field. So I don't need guys cheerleading from the stands. I need guys in the field helping me. I got to tell you, it was harder for me, and still is harder for me, to change 5 quarts of oil in my shop back in Butler than it was for BP to sink a hole in the Gulf. So I don't want to hear about regulations and how they're helping us and how they're saving us money. I mean, it's about $8,000 an employee. So if that's helping me, hey, please don't help me anymore. Let me do it on my own.
And Congressman, you bring up a great point. The big companies, the giant corporations, they're able to get all their carve-outs. They have all their friends and buddies in Congress. They can get the special deals that the small business people can't. It's the small business people that have to produce the jobs to get us out of the unemployment hole we're in, and they're being strangled by new regulations.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most of us in small business, all I want, you know, take your boot off my throat. Let me do what I know how to do. Please don't send people into me that can flip open a laptop and insert a program and say, let me tell you how to run your business. I always say to them, have you ever done what I've done before? And they, well, you know, I've got a degree. I said, I need more degrees, okay? I got those on my thermometer outside the store. Just leave me alone. Bring me somebody that's actually done what I've done, walked my walk, and had to get through it on my own. So I don't need the government who's never done anything effectively or efficiently, or certainly with any type of a budget. We don't even use a budget anymore here, to tell me how to regulate my business. I think it's absolutely insane.
You trust actions, not words. You always have to bring it down to that level when you're dealing with the government. Let's talk about specific regulations and regulatory agencies. We have OSHA, which of course is a big problem for a lot of small businesses. They feel that they do over-regulation. EPA, which is stopping the drilling in the Gulf and stopping coal mining projects, fracking projects for gas. We have Liz Warren's new agency that's supposed to protect financial consumers. Which of these, and of course Obamacare, can't forget that, the granddaddy of them all, which of these is most onerous for small business?
All of the above, but especially with Ms. Warren, with the Consumer Financial Protection. Now, these people don't have to answer anybody, and they've added some language into there. And when it comes down to these agencies and their sole discretion will decide what it is that the problem is without actually having people at the table who do what they're regulating and helping to make those decisions. Don't give me that, okay? I don't need to hear that from people who've never actually done anything with their own money, never had any of their own skin in the game, and then they're gonna tell me and they're gonna tell other people how to run their business. Right. That CFPA is so dangerous. They talk about there could be abusive practices. What's abusive? Well, we'll determine that. No. Clearly define it. You want to be transparent, be transparent. You want to be clear, be clear. Don't keep the smoke and mirrors game up with the American public. We've had it up to here. We need to get back to just common sense.
Well, and the idea that you have a professor, an Ivy League professor, telling businesses how to make their life easy. I mean, why don't you just get somebody like a business person, put them in the position, if you have to have a regulatory czar, and have them do the cutting because they know what hurts businesses the most?
Well, hey, you know what, David? In the Middle Ages, they used to talk about how many angels they could fit in a head of a pin,
Right.
and they'd spend days and weeks and months and years trying to come up with the answer. Look, let me tell you something. Please, do me a favor. Practice in your field, and don't get involved in mine. If you've never actually done it, then don't tell me you looked at a report last night or you have the software program that told you about it. If you haven't had your hands dirty, if you haven't had your knuckles bruised, if you haven't done what I've done, then please don't tell me that you know better than I do how to do it. And don't add layers and layers of cost, which, by the way, if it increased the cost of me doing business, you know who pays for it? The consumer.
Right.
And we've got things going on right now.
Not only the consumer, but also the person who might be looking for a job who can't get
Absolutely.
one because the guy's too busy spending money to pay off for all the protection, all the regulations that he has to deal with.
Yeah, and we know we have things coming right now, especially with the utilities. We're looking at regulations for greenhouse gas emissions that are going to put the cost of energy to the average American family way over the top. The people that need energy and the people that are paying for it through the nose are the people getting hurt the most by it. It doesn't help us, it hurts us.
Congressman Mike Kelly, glad you're on the case, Mike. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks, David. Stay with you.
Thank